It's Detroit. It's different. It's Detroit. It's different. Get the signal, it's clear. Nothing sounds like what.
Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And in studio, I kind of have like what would be known as a cousin through an aunt that we both have adopted. And she's creative, she's interested in history and so much more, but also has one of the most classic laughs, not like my goofy laugh, that you can hear and document and connect with. And if you get a chance to see that, you definitely would also see so much of the ideas and artistry, creativity, and connecting, how that goes into people and culture. Misha Stallworth West, how are you today?
I'm good. It's sunny outside.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It's cold as ever, but it's sunny outside. But actually at 28, because it's been like 0 some of these days, 28
right.
is like, it's like a, what is this?
Balmy. It's balmy outside
yes,
now.
Exactly. It's like you could get, like before you could get frostbite in 2 minutes. Now it'll take about 20.
Yeah. You see this light jacket I got on? It's all good.
I love Detroit. And it is so cold in the day. And it's just been one of the harsher winters in a long time. Let me be honest with that. But it happens at times. So definitely great to have you in studio for many reasons. You was like, what we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the story. We're going to tell the story. So we're going to start here. And I know you're going to know some bits and pieces of it. Your family, how many generations deep y'all been in the Detroit area?
Ooh, we are 4 generations deep.
Okay.
I guess 5 if you count my son now.
Oh, man.
You know
yes.
what I mean?
He the man that had breakfast today.
That's right. But
okay.
yeah, it's my grandfather's father on my dad's side. Is the earliest.
I got you. And where did he come from and what led him up to Detroit? Or I guess, I don't know where he came from, but I'm thinking the South, and, they always say Detroit.
Yeah. They followed the same, the typical migration pattern from Selma, Alabama. So people ask me, Stallworth, do you know somebody? I said, well, if your people came from Alabama, we probably know how it go.
Oh, one of them civil rights institutions down there in Selma. Yeah. For sure. I'm with it. And so many people from Detroit are from Alabama with those origins, I'd say. Georgia and Alabama come up most. So I'm getting a lot more Mississippi and a couple other places, but Georgia, Alabama, it's a lot of Detroit.
Yeah, I usually see the Mississippi folks in Chicago.
Yes,
right?
That is, because it's a little further west. Yep. So from Selma, but even in that, what was your family doing down there in Selma? What was the connection there,
I don't really know. You try to talk about it, you try to ask, but my grandfather was what some might describe as stoic.
Okay.
He wasn't real big on the stories in that way. And then one of the things that I think is really cool about both my grandparents on my dad's side is that both my great-grandmothers were divorced, which I think is cool because women didn't get divorced back then, right?
Very, very rare.
Right?
Very rare.
So my grandma Bert was like the most close to the family. I didn't really know my great-grandfather. And she remarried and so forth and so on.
Okay. All right. So let's go from Selma up here. Where at? I'm thinking it's probably Black Bottom, but where did they settle upon coming here?
Ooh, actually, no. They were my grandfather on my dad's side. They were Southwest.
Okay.
My grandma and her people, they bounced around a little bit, but she was a Bethel AME girl.
Okay.
So
all right,
near East Side is usually what she would say. And then on my mom's side, my mom grew up on 12th and Claremont. So that's where.
That's not that far from here. Okay. All right.
Over there.
Definitely.
Lawrence is her actual street.
Okay. Definitely that footprint and so many other people in these communities that we love. Definitely. That will put her which naturally the next big question about that, was your family there in that home during the time of the rebellion?
Yes, they were, but they left.
Okay, after.
They left.
Okay.
Stuff started to pop off.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and my grandfather was like, we about to go lay low somewhere.
Okay, because that's like right there in the mix of it all, when we think about where that is.
Yeah, and my mom was young. She was born in 1956.
Okay.
So when that popped off, she was still, adolescent age and just trying to figure herself out, let alone the world. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I guess now I can kind of go to what place do you identify? What neighborhood, I guess, for you as a kid, or do you know more of like, this is where the family was?
Yeah, so ultimately, my dad's family kind of ended up being the hub in the city because they tended to convene the family. And, they got deep into politics and service and all these things. So that's all. We live in Greenwich Park is the name of our neighborhood association. That's 7 Mile to Pembroke and Myers to Schaefer.
Okay.
The nonprofit they started was in that building over there on 6 Mile and Myers. So I spent a lot of my childhood just in that building. And my dad and my uncle went to Schultz, Beaubien, and Mumford. So it's always been that hood. That
neighborhood. And I had no idea. So if people were talking about that building, I had no idea that was connected to your family. So this is an inside joke. Really, it's through my great friend Sterling. Shout out to Sterling. He always says like Greenfield Plaza is like the hood Silicon Valley, right? so if Greenfield Plaza is that building on 6 Mile and Myers was like the origination of it, where a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of community organizations, a lot of printing shops, some politicians just had like community offices there, attorneys, just a lot of businesses would be in there. I had no idea that your family was connected to that building, but now it makes so much sense why so many different type of people were conducting business there.
Yeah, it's funny too because that building is also kind of a mystery. Like they don't have no directory. All the windows are that like mirror glass. You don't know what's in there unless you go inside.
Go in there, yeah.
right. Yep. But the real marker for Detroit, right, is that's my Coney across the street from that building. Lions Coney Island. Okay. Shout out to Pete. Shout out to Teresa. Been there for forever.
All right.
That's my Coney.
Well, that's definitely what's up, and that's definitely very Detroit. And I could definitely tell you, if you could go back in time, still happening now, but like 1990 to 1999, walking in there, you probably could possibly have a book printed and published, get a lawyer to do all of the copyright and trademarking that you need, get a photographer to take the pictures that you need for the book.
CPA.
Like you could have gotten everything in there, like in that hub. And I mean, this is, and I remember that definitely from going to Aisha Shule, and sometimes like driving back through, we would stop there when Shule was over there on the grounds of Lewis College of Business. Back in the day stuff. All right. So your family and the nonprofit. What was the nonprofit your family founded? What was the catalyst for it?
Yeah, my grandmother founded the Black Caucus Foundation of Michigan, and it really focused on drug and violence prevention for kids.
Okay.
So even now, it's still around. My uncle does a lot of work with it still. But it's a lot of in school, after school. When I first would be in the office, I was like in charge of mail, right?
Okay.
I done put stamps on so many things,
that's old school, and that's good starting work though.
But as I got older, I did some of the near peer programs. So where you only like 3 years younger than me, but we're still talking about good decision making in life, that kind of thing. What else did we do? We rode around to all the gas stations and liquor stores to see if they checked ID when they were selling cigarettes. They don't. We know this, but we handed out the signs and kept it moving anyway.
Okay.
So it was that kind of work. It was all really that drug, tobacco, violence prevention work with kids.
Okay, so now I guess I gotta like get a little bit deeper, and I know you close with your grandma and everything. What was the catalyst for her to start this organization?
My grandmother just was always about kids. Like, the interesting thing about my grandma Stallworth is that she was a church secretary, and then she just got fired up about civil service, and from there it just set her off, right? So when they moved, they were on Burwood before they were on Sorrento. So she was in that area, and this is when Northwest Activity Center was still the Jewish Community Center, and when the Jewish folks were starting to move out, right?
Yeah.
So first she got real fired up about a community center for kids, for families, right?
Okay.
And so she was involved in that transition from the Jewish Community Center being the Northwest Activity Center, right? Then she was fired up that there was no junior high school, so she got involved in the establishment of Beaubien.
Wow.
So it was just like she just cared about kids, and so it was just one thing after another. And then once she got into the legislature, she stayed on kind of the children's welfare committees as well as energy committees, and it was just her thing.
Wow. So like this becomes like very much like a organic path that she kind of lays and moves forward with. I'm thinking when is the founding of this organization? Like around what years?
It is the 90s. I don't remember the exact year. I think it's the 90s. I was born in 88.
Okay.
And I feel like I grew up in that office. So that's all I got.
Okay. So definitely if we're thinking like 80s to 90s, certainly a prevalence of illegal substances and even non-illegal substances. We look at, and I mean, I guess they still kind of exist in movies, and they often talk about like the way cigarettes are used in movies to like accent where actors come from, but very pervasive. But also, I mean, I love my hip hop, but I think about the influence of hip hop definitely. I've always stated, I think that like a sociologist, a psychologist, and a cultural anthropologist should like sit down and give almost like a forward for a lot of rap songs so that it can be better understood. But in it, you guys can check the archives when even me and Cliff Note were talking about those campaigns against like the 40 ounces and stuff. And Alberta Tinsley Talabi, with definitely the organizers similar to that, would denounce the 40 ounce. But it was a point in time, I mean, you're a kid, but like 40s were like, that was, it was weird. You know what I'm saying? Like a very weird in the sense of people drinking malt liquor damn near all the 90s. These rappers were prominent in the ads. I mean, Billy D. Williams was connected to Code 45.
He was on that billboard for a long time.
Very much so. Mile. And then Smooth, I mean, the commercial's cool as hell. It's like, you got Billy D. Williams cool as hell walking in, and then you got like a woman fine as hell, and he's like, and then she's like, what do you got to drink? And then he's like, Code 45. And you're like, now, the reality though, I told you, classic laugh.
Just like
classic laugh. I love it. All right. So the reality though, as I've said on these shows, is malt liquor, what's in it is like, and how it tastes is, and for the longest of time, man, it would be dudes like older than me. They'd like be playing basketball, drinking malt liquor at the same time.
Right.
You know, and this is like 100 ounces of like water. I mean, if you could go through a 40, and I'm just telling you, if you ever want to upset your stomach and fall asleep and wake up with a headache, just drink 20 ounces of it. You would be tapping out. So, but it was very prevalent in a lot of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.
Yeah, and I think my grandma was also pretty pragmatic. She was very strategic, right? So you got to remember, this is also the era of a lot of federal funding opportunities for this stuff, right? Yeah. It's DARE era.
Yeah.
It's Bill Clinton era. It's, I mean, even the Bushes, right? The OG Bushes, the drug prevention thing was big, right?
Nancy Reagan, This Is Your Mind on Drugs. I always uplift this. If you guys ever check out the 30 for 30 ESPN series about, it's usually about sports figures, but a prominent moment in a lot of what becomes the war on drugs is the death of the first draft pick, Len Bias from Maryland, that is on the Celtics team, and he dies of a drug overdose before he's even able to play basketball. This galvanizes so much support as crack, the crack cocaine becomes a lot more prevalent just throughout the 80s and definitely through like the early 90s. And then that runs concurrent with a lot of the drug sentencing laws, which, it's a tough time in a lot of our history. And a lot of younger people are like kind of caught in the mix of that because back to those drug sentencing laws, if you're like 12 or 13 and you're caught with a lot of drugs, you wouldn't deal with the same consequences as a person that's, above 21 caught with that same amount of crack.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing too is parallel to what they were doing in the urban communities, they were just like snatching kids out of the suburbs and sending them to these rehab programs that were super abusive, which is really interesting to dig into. I was digging into this recently. But like all of the like tough love kid stuff, like Scared Straight, that whole vibe, right? It's coming from this original program structure, and Nancy Reagan and the federal government were supporting research to validate, to make it evidence-based, but ultimately they were just literally locking kids up in warehouses and forcing them to confess drugs they didn't even do before they could go home,
Yeah, that, and it was movements like even rallies. I remember, boy, I'm a man with some age on me, but this is like maybe like the first year when the Montel Williams talk show, and you all watching this that are younger, like, who the hell's Montel Williams? He is more than Kamala Harris's boyfriend at one point in time. He was a talk show host, and talk shows used to come on throughout the day, like all day, and not like today's talk show where it's just like people sitting down talking to celebrities and everything. It would be like I guess for lack of a better term, like a social discussion in the arc of a lot of these, like Sally Jesse Raphael, Oprah, even like in the beginning, Donahue, Geraldo, where it'd be like something in social. But one of those like early shows and everything was shot at Cooley about a lot of like what was happening with access to drugs and what crack was doing in the community.
Wow.
Yeah, so like things like that would be happening to look at like I think a lot of the like Congressional Black Caucus and just a lot of religious leaders in the community and everything were like, we want to resolve this. Many people, I don't think, similar to a lot of things, had no idea the industry that was being created of privatized prisons and a lot of that offshooting from that. So
gotta look up that footage.
Yeah.
Check that out.
I mean, if you can find it, it's Lord knows you're gonna see a lot of people with like high top fades and Sergio Tashini windbreakers.
It was fly.
Oh yeah, I got a back. Sergio Tashini windbreaker coat. Across at my crib now. Yeah, as soon as anytime I could wear it, I was like, let's break that out. But these are kind of like how those things are happening. So your grandmother, and I've heard stories of your grandmother, but I never like kind of knew she was like the catalyst a lot, just like kind of moving your family into a lot of like this organizing, government, politics, and everything.
Yeah. She was the first, and once she got her hooks in something, she was all about it. So the Supreme Court, school busing, you can find footage of her talking about that on the news with some lady who didn't support busing, right? But yeah, she opened that door, and the values were always there. My grandfather, he worked at Hudson's for 40 years.
Wow.
Over at Northland. He also was an auditor for the state, and he would just do taxes for people in the neighborhood all the time. So it was like this service was always there as a value. It just showed up in different ways on that side of my family.
Okay. All right. And then, it definitely is connected in politics, but was your, as time built and carried on, does your grandmother more so like start pivoting towards like responding and being active in like so many more of all the causes and connected to all the people, or more so her stance was like, let's continue to just kind of build a lot of these efforts around children?
She was always focused on children.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, by example, focused on women. She,
Okay.
She didn't talk like I talk in terms of like a feminist lens or anything like that. But, she held the space, and she held the space in a certain kind of way to set an example, right? She didn't back down. She was not quiet. She'd be the only woman, only Black woman at lots of tables, and she has a reputation for being fierce in that. But stayed in terms of like her policy, her, direct service work, it stayed focused on kids and family and working the system. So once she was in it, she was in the Democratic Party. When she was in it, she used, political committee structures to move things. She was concerned about policies and stuff like that.
Okay. And the way you share this story, it's almost like because you said like more so like church secretary over to like community organizing. It wasn't like if I'd have met your grandmother in 1978 and said, hey, you want to get into politics? That wouldn't have probably she wouldn't have probably said, yeah, I see myself there.
No, the way she describes it is as she was, doing this community center work, this junior high school work, I think their state senator was just underwhelming to her. She just like looked at him one day and was like, I could do that. And then decided to try.
Okay.
That's the way she tells the story, or told the story anyway.
Okay. All right. So most of your life is you're watching this and like seeing your grandmother move in so many of these political spaces. What impact does that have on you? Because, still it's like, to Detroit and so many others, they're seeing state senator. To you seeing, Mima, you seeing grandma,
No, actually, everybody in my family calls her the rep.
Okay. I got you.
We call it, like, she's Grandma Stallworth. Even that, like all my grandparents we call by name. So she's Grandma Stallworth, right? But the rep definitely became her most common nickname. She served in the House for 22 years.
Wow.
So, no, it was always kind of that. And my grandma wasn't a cute and cuddly grandma. Like, she wasn't baking cookies or nothing like that. That just wasn't her style. She made sure you were fed, and you was going to come to her to whatever meeting she had to go to, whatever event you had to go to. And at the time, the rules about lobbyists were a little different. So, if we could put in a trip to Disney World on there, we should make sure the kids get to Disney World on somebody's dime. You know what I mean? But it was always just integrated. There was always an event to go to. There were always people to speak to. There was, So what I really tell folks is I'm an introverted person by nature. Like, I charge my battery solo. Going and talking to a lot of people was actually really exhausting for me. But I'm a well-trained introvert because I had to do all of this stuff my whole life. So
yeah, I was just about to ask, what impact did that have on you? So like you're consistently in these spaces, but also seeing her navigate the spaces. And then I guess the rest of your family by default in these same spaces navigating it.
Yeah. Again, I think I didn't think about it at the time, right? But when I reflect on it and I think about the kind of woman that I am, it's undeniable that had influence on me, right? Like, I've never asked myself if I'm allowed to speak in any space ever, right? That's just
what you do.
Yeah, that's just what I do. That's what you're expected to do. And you're expected to know your stuff when you're speaking, right? And to do your work and get it together. So, I don't know. It was all really integrated for me.
Okay. So now I'm gonna move past over to your childhood. If you had to think of what neighborhood, what community, what house, what was your what was that place? What were you at?
So I was a couple places. I was a grandparents' house on the weekend kid.
Okay.
Because there were always events. There was always some place
I got you.
that folks had to go.
I got you. You was a one of those kids that be sitting in the corner like, oh,
Yeah.
Because I definitely have been there a couple times too.
100%. 100%. You know, learn how to scramble eggs as soon as I could reach the stove.
That, then, you know, and then here go the classic one. And I know I probably do this when my nephew dies. It's like, you know, you with grandma, like uncle, aunt, your mom, or dad, and then it's like, all right, we about to go. And then they walk out, they see somebody they know, and it's be like, oh man, take a forever.
Yep.
Coming between me and Tiny Toons.
Exactly. So we actually took over my grandmother's house before she passed. And so the house I live in now is the house I think of a lot in my childhood.
Okay.
On my mom's side, I also spent a lot of time at my grandma Rachel's crib. And that was really interesting too, because she lived in Orchestra Towers senior housing apartment. I think it's just Section 8 now. It's not a senior apartment exclusively anymore. But that's a block up from the DSO. And her whole world was that area.
Wow.
You know, she did not work. She did not drive. She was kind of classic older person living on whatever she could, and walk to Tomboy Market, walk back, walk across the parking lot to St. Pat Senior Center, walk back, go to the rec room, play cards. She taught me to play blackjack. So that whole little area means a lot to me too. And then my parents, they actually moved from Rosedale Park to Southfield. Okay. Around the time I was born. So I was in Southfield and I was in those places, you know.
Okay, now I got another one of those like impactful questions too. As we didn't even really get to a lot of the service that she's in, but you definitely connect with. You see, like with both your grandmothers there that you give, you're seeing like completely different perspectives of how they engage, how they, you know what I'm saying, how they engage in life, where their agency is, what their quality of life is as far as what they appreciate and that love. And if anybody knows about those senior centers, and man, this was one that like really, I think, touched and hurt many Detroiters of a lot of, all right, I got to go a little bit deeper into some history for you guys. So a lot of these, a lot of contractors that build developments are giving like community block grants definitely through HUD. HUD is established as definitely a federal agency that works with trying to find resources, but especially housing for and throughout like urban centers. So like the DSO, and it's like a footprint of many of these apartments that are built and established, I would say, like in the early 90s, late 80s, and then like they must keep a certain amount of people at some rate. And then after like this, like I guess the time of what exists for that, things transition over. Many seniors in a lot of these apartment buildings are no longer there because a lot of our life, and I got Misha by a couple of the days, but a lot of our life, like right now, you all see like downtown and midtown as like real cool, hip, happening places and condos and restaurants and stuff. But for a lot of the 90s, the main people that live like downtown and midtown were seniors. And you know what I'm saying? Because these senior homes were like up and down. And I'm not saying like nobody in their 20s or 30s lived there, but you know, like especially before that old Hudson was torn down or that building was there. I mean, like the right Saturday or the right Saturday, Sunday, you know, all those like little town square parks, it'd be like old heads playing chess. And it's a Detroit that you'd have had to see to believe. But this is kind of a lot connected to a lot of those homes and senior buildings. And like just, you know, it had a culture that was different. Like the bus station stops, the stores and things like that. You could get the Cricket Correct gums and stuff like that because that was what was, you know, there in those communities. So you connecting with your grandmother like in that space also connects you to like seeing a culture that I you know, like a lot of people I don't even necessarily think that they were tapped into. And you know, the Hannon House, which obviously you have some connections there as well, but like experiences like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say if you went and stood on the corner of Woodward and Alexandria and you did a 360, pretty much every high-rise you can see, like older high-rise if it's not new, at some point was a senior building. Yeah. Right? And so the ones that have switched over to Section 8, are there still older adults living there? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the difference is that now families can be there and folks who are younger can be there. So it is absolutely a different vibe. And there has been a lot of tension about that changeover, which I think is primarily because we don't facilitate multi-generational spaces very well. You know, we kind of established like the senior housing based on income, but also based on this assumption that older people only want to be around each other. And then if you talk to older folks about those spaces, they're concerned about, you know, things being loud or disruption or, you know, stuff that when you really take a step back, it's like a misunderstanding of a generational culture, right? But if you built relationships with that family that moved in down the hall, you'd probably be fine. But we don't really facilitate that. That's not what the people in the management office are for. So
yes.
That's rough.
And definitely, and I mean, I ain't even there, but I can only imagine, you know, if I get up to 80, it's usually, you know, as people get up in age, they're not as, what's the right term I want to use? They're not as negotiable. Let's use that about certain things that they want to see it and when it is. And I mean, I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? Because like any political time, yeah, you get over there. You know, it's like ice cream social after ice cream social after ice cream social. And if you don't know what an ice cream social is, it's basically when a politician comes and talks to everybody in the building in whatever their day room is, and they better have every ice cream flavor that they guaranteed having. Yeah. And now I can sit down and talk to who's running for office.
Or you got to facilitate bingo.
That
bingo,
as well.
Snacks and prizes.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. Very important.
Those are key because they're like, hey, I know what's going on, but also like then, you know, you get into some real discussions because a lot of the elders are very aware of, you know, what's happened before, what's happening now. And as things carry on, as y'all know, I got my grandma street team. Shout out to Brenda Butler that sends me a text every day about something politically. We love you, Brenda Butler. And I love the fact that you are definitely on the advisory commission as a resident throughout the city of Detroit, because Brenda don't let nothing slide. I love Brenda. All right. So you're seeing like both these worlds too.
Yeah, three worlds. I think really one of the things that defines my life is all the different worlds I have been a part of and navigated simultaneously. You know, I'm in those worlds. I'm in Southfield, you know, which is one of the first places Black folks could buy houses in the suburbs.
Yes.
So it's got its own
culture,
vibe,
definitely.
but it's still designed like a suburb, which you know encourages folks to be just on their property in their homes. Right? There still aren't sidewalks. It's still not, you know, it's a whole thing. And I'm bouncing around school, so went to elementary school and Southfield Public School. I went to Cranbrook for middle school, came back to Lathrop for high school.
Wow.
Went all the way out to Bloomfield to graduate from high school.
Wow.
So I'm like, you know, so much of my life is in the city because I'm at all the events. I'm doing all the work with my family and I'm with my grandparents a lot. But then my school, my education is all over here and just kind of, you know, walking that line.
Okay. And you touched on Cranbrook. I also know artistry's there with you. And I know Cranbrook, unique school experience. Shout out to the Mark Crane interview where we really kind of unpacked what it was for him. When do you start really kind of tapping into a lot of the artistry that you enjoy?
Oh, the art stuff has always just been a personal interest. When I was a kid, yeah. As early as I can remember, I was like, I want to be an artist and I want to be a veterinarian. I used to tell my parents I wanted to get a house with like a bunch of land and I wanted a barn with an artist studio on top. And then I would just heal people's cows. Like that was all I wanted to do for a long time. So I don't know, divine order, I guess.
Okay, so that was there. All right, so in this, as this kind of carries on, you mentioned up through some of the high school. Where do you go after high school?
University of Chicago.
Oh, UC. What was that experience like? That is definitely one of the leading college in journalism and a lot of business programming and some, I guess some like, what would I say? Like social, like, what do I say? More civics. Let's use that term as I know it. What was UC like for you?
I think you might be thinking of UIC. University of Chicago doesn't have pre-professional programs. And I'm just saying it's a thing that happens all the time.
You're probably right,
It's
because my cousin Nikki, I guess she did go to UIC. Good point.
It happens all the time, and it's funny because we used to have shirts that was like not UIC since
Hilarious.
1892, whatever. No. University of Chicago is a John D. Rockefeller private university, small school, like 5,000 students.
Wow.
In the middle of Hyde Park.
Wow.
And does not have walls, but can have that feeling of walls because it also has like one of the largest private police forces. And so, it was complicated, but I loved it. Honestly, I had a great experience because it was one of the first places I felt intellectually at home. It was one of the first places that on the intellectual side, I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel self-conscious. Folks were really engaging. The discussions were so rich. Like, it's a beautiful campus. So if you're prepared to navigate the politics of it, which with my background I was, it's good. It was good for me.
Okay. What era? When are you there?
I'm there 2006 to 2010.
Wow. So you're there as Barack Obama is elected.
Mm-hmm.
What was that energy like?
I was in Grant Park when he made the speech, like accepting.
Wow. I gotta get more of a feel of even that in that day. So for a lot of people, definitely it is political and what we think, but just what that was transcending for so many of us to witness that and just see something like that happen in America was just overwhelming. I was there at the inauguration in Washington, but the announcement, as you say, was there in Chicago, and it seemed like when I was looking, it seemed like I don't even know how big that crowd was.
It was nuts. It was nuts because so after Michigan Avenue, like the Magnificent Mile was shut down, and it was just people, like no cars, people walking the street all together. And that was like, the whole moment was overwhelming, but walking in that crowd did something to me. That like just that whole experience. And now, I mean, maybe it was planned. I assume the city had to plan something because there's no way that there are just no cars on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's ever been to Chicago and the Magnificent Mile, you also remember you should know those magnificent parking fees.
Right. There's no way to no traffic. But in the moment, it felt like it just happened, and it was peaceful. You know, like you come up like, where I kind of hate to say this, but I think that was the first gathering I had been in like that where like there were no shots fired, no fights, no nothing, right? Not to say the other places I've been weren't also fun and great, and oftentimes whatever the fight was all the way over there for me. Yeah. But when that happens, then there's a certain response that kind of just breaks everything up and disrupts the feeling, right? So it just kind of, it definitely struck me in that moment, like that I did this whole walk that again felt organic at the time, was likely not so organic. But it was just, I don't know, that overwhelmed me too. I was really emotional about it.
Yeah, and I mean, even that, at that time, we always say, like, I guess Detroit and Chicago are like, I guess, cousin cities in certain ways, but very different in certain ways. One of the things about Chicago is some of the history, especially politically, when we think of like even the Daley family. For anybody that's from Chicago, that's like that it's like royalty there in Chicago. So at that moment, even for that to like, because at the time I think a Daley is married at the time, so it's like for that to even like step for the politics of that to step back and give a stage to the Obamas at that point in time, that's also that's one hell of a moment in history. And I know a person watching this will be like, well, that person's the president, this person's just the mayor. You kind of got to go to Chicago and and feel it
Right.
to like feel it. So if the best example I could have is like imagine I'm just throwing this out there. Imagine if Mike Duggan immediately assumes all the wealth of Dan Gilbert, and that's in Detroit. That's the best example I could give you, Detroiters, of like what that would feel like.
Yeah. And I think, and again, like sitting where I'm sitting now and having the experience I have now of, being part of running a really large organization, of having to make decisions about safety protocols for crowds and things like that.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that you don't have to make that much room, right? Like you could say, use Grant Park, and there's still a curfew, and then there will be police escorts sending folks to this exit, that exit, right? You don't have to just say, okay, we're just going to make room for however it goes and, make sure folks are safe that way. And again, I think we see that like with the fireworks at, downtown.
Yeah.
You see the fireworks on the river, like the response is park the cops at, the 75 and Lafayette entrance. Park the cops here, park the cops there. Make sure people can only go certain routes. And it just wasn't like that. It just wasn't like that.
Wow. Okay. So that's happening while you're in school. You finish school. What's your vision? What are you thinking?
Oh, I want to change the world.
Okay.
I moved to LA.
All right.
For about a year and a half. I did a year of service with City Year.
Okay, you were a City Year. I didn't know that about you.
City Year Corps member.
What part of LA? Because LA is another massive city.
Yeah. I lived in Koreatown, and my school was just a few blocks away from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got lucky on that one.
All right. How what was your LA experience like? What was City Year like? What was the feel?
City Year was interesting. I'm not what one would call a joiner. It's kind of ironic because I'm also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, but I've always I'm in the sorority, but then folks are like, "What chapter you in?" And I'm like, "Oh, still figuring it out," And City Year in LA is a little different than City Year here. City Year in LA is what we call a strong culture. So they're real serious about the uniform. They're real serious about their call and response. They're real serious about something called PITWs. And I can't remember what that acronym is now, but basically it's a book about this thick.
Wow.
That has all these different like proverbs that, the Corps lives by. And so on any given day, somebody's bringing up a PITW that's supposed to apply to the experience of your service. And for, you know what I mean? Like, it's like strong culture, You circle up before you start the school day with your team. I was on a team of 16. You circle up, you do a uniform check, make sure shirt's tucked in, shoes right, jacket's right, whole thing.
Man.
Before you go into the school.
That was like a gang in military.
And yeah. But then like soft too. So I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Be like, you got your shirt untucked? What are we doing here?
For real. You gotta have a belt. It was you gotta do the whole thing. So it's all of that, but then it also has kind of like a summer camp feeling because everybody's just there to work with kids.
And kind of a little bit after college too.
Right. Because it's 18 to 24-year-olds who can actually be in the Corps. So, but it was a great experience. I think my team of 16 people really worked well together. And if you've done any community organizing work, you know that getting 16 people to work really well together for a whole year is more than a notion. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Getting 6.
Okay. So I'm like, that was really profound. I feel like I learned a lot from there. The strong culture component was also really profound as I was setting off into this life of nonprofit leadership. Because I think in nonprofits sometimes our, marketing, organizational culture stuff gets undervalued. We're so busy trying to respond to the needs in the community that we don't always have a moment to kind of reflect on what have we put together internally as an organization? What language do we use as an organization? How do we structure our meetings? And so I learned a lot from that experience from City Year 2.
That's beautiful. So what leads you to come back to Detroit?
I wanted a red brick house.
Okay.
In Detroit. Like, that's all I wanted.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. That was the dream. So I really only went to LA for 2 reasons. One, that's where Moesha was.
Hilarious. Shout out to my homie CP. CP got a shout out to comedian CP. He got a joke. I'm trying to find where he like, yeah, you know, we watching Moesha. The dude from Onyx. He like, what's up, Mo? He just like,
yep, Moesha.
Do the Fredo Star.
I feel like that's the place to be. I need to be out there, like
hilarious. And for anybody, obviously this is a person in that era. Like as a sitcom, that sitcom like went through a lot of arcs of changes over time. Like it started like a Cosby Show, and then it ends up being like a Blossom. Then it ends up being like a, I don't know, like a Saved by the Bell to college years or something.
Yeah. It got dark.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's like when she finally got with Hakeem and
it was a whole thing.
Hey, I'm sure it's on some of them streaming services, and if you're a kid and you haven't watched it, tap in.
Yeah.
Tap in.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah,
it's a classic.
Okay. All right.
So that's one. And then 2, I had this dream of being back home, and I was like, you got to live somewhere else. Like,
okay.
I don't know why I had it on my spirit at that age, but I just was like, living other places before you fully set. Like, I'm like, I know once I go home, I'm not leaving.
Okay.
I just know that. So it's like, let me just see some other places. Let me see what I can learn and bring back home. See what's the same, see what's different.
That's real. That's real. And at that point, Chicago and LA, those are definitely some heavy traffic international markets. So you come back to Detroit when?
When was that? 2012, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're coming like a little bit before things change with the bankruptcy, and like really a lot of the table of Detroit kind of gets completely reset.
Yep. But at that time, my dad is also serving the legislature, so a lot of what was going on was still.
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing and seeing, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So my dad's doing that. My mom is working at Northwestern High School, maybe at the time. She was teaching, so it was all still very salient. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what leads you into like this space of nonprofits and connecting there?
I mean, I've been, like I said, with my grandma's organization, I've been doing nonprofit work since I was like 15, you know, earlier if you count, again, the mailroom.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I love people. I think people are really important. Community is really important. I've always been really passionate about building stronger communities. My dad makes a terrible joke. He used to say, I bring home strays. So he'll be like...
Hilarious.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, on any given day, Misha got some random friend over here who has some kind of problem. And she's talking about, well, you could just stay in our basement for a minute while we figure it out. And like...
Man, oh man. Man, oh man.
I don't know, man. It's just who I am. It's just always been who I am. I hate bullies. I love people. And so it seemed like the place to be. Okay.
All right. And we meet when you're at the Hannon House and doing a lot of the creativity there. So for people to get an understanding, like, I guess this is interesting too, because similar to how your grandmother, like, and I didn't even know that. You just gave me some Detroit history I didn't know. Took what happened with the Jewish Community Center and helped usher in the Northwest Activity Center. The Hannon House was at one point in time a Jewish-based center for a lot of primarily seniors and families with different activities. But it's programming there for seniors throughout the year for artistry, history, just a lot to tap into. It has since And I think you were like kind of in some of the lead of it because we meet where like, you're like, hey, there's a studio here and that. And more of the spaces are active to do like performances and events and things like that have transitioned there. Also, a lot of good food, a lot of them ice cream socials and cookies, stuff like that there too. But it's a place that has welcomed a lot of our elders throughout the community for years.
Yes. Hannon just hit its 100th birthday as an organization.
Wow.
It, in its origins was doing charitable work for older adults. It's been housing, it's been apartments. And now it's really a community center. So Hannon has what's called lifelong learning programs. That's one of the things that I was leading.
Okay.
And so, it's like fitness and exercise, but there is also theater. There is also a singing group. And when I started there, one of the objectives was make sure all of these classes are being led by professionals and being led with a level of rigor so that if someone who's 55 or older wants to participate, they really are being deeply engaged in the ability to learn something new, to, explore a thing that maybe they hadn't had the opportunity to do before. So it's not macaroni necklaces and nonsense. It's like serious stuff happening over there, which is real dope. And then I also was the director of the Ellen K. Rod Art Gallery there. So the art gallery also features the work of older adult artists. There's a lot of emerging artists, a lot of folks who, again, are kind of getting into this now. Just cool stuff. Cool stuff.
And then as that carries on, it transitions and you continue on. One of the things that definitely I applauded, you kind of picking off other things from your grandma with the school board and with DPSCD, definitely at a time where, and I guess really in reality, I guess probably the last 30 years has been like a time where some of these transitions, which like a lot of institutions, I think a lot of the changes in education itself obviously have like direct impacts on DPSCD. And this is just throughout every school board because if you all have been following news, I mean, even the Grosse Pointe School Board and there's challenges there, and I'm just, this is like an American, this is a challenge we as Americans have to really face. And one of the key things that I definitely applauded and was glad to see you there, Sherry, when she was there, and definitely Angelique, relationships with all of you all. And I've always shared with all of you all that I think even education itself, when we think of Central High School being like the first public high school in America, was more the catalyst of public education was more about taking agricultural workers and making them industrial workers. The concept of it being like a community good and something that everyone is guaranteed kind of becomes a little bit after the fact from where that intention stands. So it's always like a pull and pull. Even right now, if you've been asking yourself so many questions like, why is school closed this many days and all the time? A lot of it is kind of somewhat of the politics. If the school day is open and that school is open and you're not having enough students within the school, that can have direct impacts on the resources that will be given to that school continuing and carrying on. So as much as I can only imagine how that inconveniences a lot of the parents, it can have a lot more detrimental impacts on all students throughout a school to operate, keep the doors open, and that school could lose more resources. This is like politics and business of this stuff, not the good of where education stands. And I definitely thought that, just knowing your heart and where you were coming from, you, some of the school board meetings could be, a lot, but you were giving some perspective as a young voice there, which I was like, yo, that's dope that Misha's in that space and position.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I have lived a life in terms of my service, right? Because I'm like, when I first came back, I actually was getting my master's in social work at Michigan. And I was working at the Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance with Kenyatta Peoples, my girl, Kenyatta Campbell. Sorry, Kenyatta. Her mama, Miss Peoples.
Yeah.
All the folks. So I was over there. Then went to DAAA, was leading Meals on Wheels for the city. Then Hannon. Then 2016, this election comes around, right, for the school board. And so I'm trying to like manage my life and think about what is it to run for office. And I never wanted to run for office before either. Like being so deep in it with my family, I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, folks come at you with these expectations all the time. Like, when you going to do it? When you going to do it? And I'm like, I don't want to do anything just to do it. I want to do it when I feel called to it, when I see the impact I can make. So I was actually really resistant at first. Like I said, my dad was in the legislature at the time. He was doing the work to bring our schools from out of emergency management. And he was just like, Misha, this change is coming. There's going to be an elected board for the first time in a decade. He's like, I think you should think about it, And when I reflected on it, I was like, I want to be here. Schools are so important. I have been so privileged in my education. And I think everybody should be able to have those kinds of opportunities, right? So I thought I could bring that perspective, even more than being, the youngest person on the board. My husband will get me if I don't say the youngest person ever elected to the board.
Yeah.
Right? Even that aside, I feel like the diversity of my educational experience was the real value and perspective I was bringing. Because I don't lower standards, because I understand what is really possible. You know what I'm saying? I understand what a school really can provide when you line the stuff up right and you just decide that that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, definitely, it's like anybody else, an elected official should know that usually if I vote for you, I take a picture of it and I text message you. So it's like, yo, you see, I voted for you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
So
very grateful to the other 64,000 people who have voted for me too. That's a crazy thing to see.
Yeah.
Crazy number to see that many people support you. It's very humbling. And it was 8 years of exhausting and very important work.
Oh yeah. All right. So now, in another position, Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, I think right now, a lot of people right now probably identify it as, man, the other side of the Riverwalk is amazing. And the grand ceremony, I was there. I was traveling with most people when I think a lot of that stuff was happening. So I got to tap in when weather is not what it is. But what has it been like there? Ralph C. Wilson, me more so with my sports mind, owner of the Buffalo Bills at one point in time, definitely very, what would I say? Very grounded in wanting to create a foundation and endowment to be present and fund and connect with a lot of what term do I want to use here? A lot of arming organizations that are already doing a lot of work in changing what communities could be and how they function, to continue to not just necessarily do the work, but think how expansive it could become. I guess that's the best example from the outside in, that it looks like that it does. It got you from an angle of looking at some creativity in it, and what's that position been like? What's it been like to now, I guess, in walking those steps, as you say, many lives, even though it's you still a kid. But definitely grown with all of these things.
I look younger than I am.
Yes.
I was out there. I've been at the Wilson Foundation for 4 years now. I'm a senior program officer. I lead all of our work that focuses on caregivers of older adults. I put that break in there because folks tend to think I'm talking about aging work, and I'm not. I'm talking about caregivers of any age that are caring for somebody who's older.
Wow.
So every time you go get a box from our auntie house, I'm talking about you.
I'm with it.
So I've been doing that work for 4 years. It's been cool. It's been a pivot that I needed coming from the direct service work, getting into the philanthropic side, having the opportunity, the privilege to direct resources to communities. I'm in Southeast Michigan and Western New York, which coincidentally, I was getting to know Buffalo around the same time my husband was blasting West Side Gun all over our house.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
So that's been like a cool path to walk.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I also came into the Wilson Foundation in my second trimester of pregnancy.
I was going to talk about you and the little homie, which always now it's like, what up, though?
Yeah.
I'll be like on the other Riverwalk or wherever. I'm like, what up, Misha? And the little one.
Yep. My little road dog with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Been all over the place.
That's love. The tradition carries on.
It does.
Yep.
It does.
Yeah, I'm going to be about 7 like, oh, man.
I know. He's going to be like, another meeting? I'm like, yes, another meeting.
Oh. This Detroit is different. Got to keep talking.
That's a rite of passage.
I don't even know by then. It ain't going to be tiny too. So I'm trying to get back to my 3D immersive. My 3D immersive video game.
But I mean, it's been huge transition for me in my life, period. So it's a career change, a change in my life, a change in my family, But it's been dope. The work is great. Mm-hmm. I love that I get to focus on caregivers because it's intersectional work.
I have, and with this, you have clearly, similar with me, but also it's just unique because you got a lot of, I use always the term like little homies or big homies, meaning like you have a lot of like senior relationships. Beyond like, I mean, I know everybody, you go to church and there's elders in the church and, when it's like, everybody give peace to everybody. It's like, all right, let me go talk to the elder. But like, nah, you like me, like you can call, you check on, you send, well wishes, birthdays, lunches, dinners. What do you think it is that, where you have such these, like rich relationships with elders that you develop?
I don't know. Everybody in my life has always been older than me.
Okay.
Even my siblings, they're 8 and 10 years older than me. And then I told you, I'm with my grandparents all the time. I don't know. I also, one of my values is to really just see people, just see you. So I try not to, put my lens on you when I'm getting to know you, right? And then I think the other thing is when I start working at Detroit Area Agency on Aging, and when I make this shift into work that is in the aging sector, because I had done all youth development, and I made this pivot, right? It's mostly older people doing that work too.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm experiencing a different dynamic than I ever had before where I'm supervising people who are older than me, or I'm in meetings where I'm having peer relationships with people who are significantly older than me. And so you start to do it and kind of build the muscle. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, no, we can be friends. It doesn't matter that you're 80 years old. We can be friends. We can just be friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm
with it. I also want to speak to like caretaking as so interesting. The interview that I had before this, well, not even just that one, a little bit before, just as things transition of the resources and cost needed to be present with a person that's aging, because Americans are getting older. With it, it's the cost, the time, because it's not just money, it's also time and those connections being built. It's often shared. So many caretakers themselves, what they deal with, the stressors they deal with, some of the illness they deal with, the frustrations, because it can be difficult, especially if a person, depending upon what you're helping a person with and what does exist and what those journeys are. And also, you got like many things in America, you got the health and medicine, what it is, and then you got like the health and medicine business, and a lot can definitely be carried with that. And, we human beings, pride does exist in those relationships. So, seeing that vision, and being open to, like, as I've learned more about like caretaker support groups, especially for like Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that. How, what have you seen as far as, people being more, what do I want to say, transparent about the challenges that caretaking can be?
I don't know that I see a lot of changes in people being transparent about it, but I don't even know that it's a transparency issue. So many of us are caregiving because culturally it's what we do, right? It's part of our belief system that you take care of your elders. It's just what you do, right? And you take on whatever else comes with it and you just deal with it. Like, so a lot of times when you talk to folks, like nobody identifies with the word caregiver. When you start getting into the advocacy work or you start getting into the service work, you'd be like, I'm a caregiver. You got the shirt because,
Hilarious.
But like outside of that, unless you're in that world, you're not waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror and being like, I'm a caregiver. You're waking up in the morning and you're being like, I got to go take care of my mom. I got to go make sure my husband is good. I got to go make sure you know what I mean? Like you're thinking about it in terms of your identity in relationship to the person. And so part of what we're trying to do at Wilson and more broadly in this work is help people to see themselves in that. It doesn't matter if you call yourself a caregiver or not. It matters that support for you is under this category. It matters that you can go find it, you can get to it when you need help. And it matters that you are taking care of yourself as well as this other person. Because what we see is folks leaving work, like they have to quit their jobs, retire early. If they had a retirement account, they're spending it down, right? So they're in financial distress. Their health does become impaired to, like you mentioned, right? Folks are moving and having to change households and all these things based on the intensity of their caregiving role. And that's, in addition to just general stress, anxiety, depression,
regular
grief.
life that does exist. And also, I think, especially with, if dementia or Alzheimer's or just with aging, the forgetfulness that could be present, it can be very difficult because, you can be pouring love and time and energy, money, all of this into a person that, possibly may wake up and be like, why are you breaking my house? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's, it's tough. It can also impact a lot of like family relationships because it may be one person like, I'm doing this throughout, and then another person's like, oh, I got to this boundary.
Yep.
It's a lot that comes with that.
Absolutely. Or it could be, everybody don't have great relationships with their siblings.
You got that right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes folks who maybe never talk now have to talk to each other. So they're trying to navigate that while understanding this care world, while managing their own lives. You know what I mean? And there's no special therapist for that. You know what I mean? So that's the work. And again, I love that it's intersectional. So it's all of us, right? And just like race, gender, class, it's another one of those things where you layer those identities on and then your experience looks different compared to some other folks.
With that, what are some of the things that you think help people that are in that, that are there caregiving and the families? What are some of the things to always keep in mind?
Oh, things to always keep in mind. I think caregiving can sometimes push folks to be more isolated. So I think it's always good to resist that urge, to know that the people who love you are not tired of hearing about it. I talk to a lot of folks who are just like, you start feeling like it's all you talk about, and you start feeling like that's just, people don't want to hear it. You're a downer. People who care about you want to keep hearing about it. They want to keep hearing about you and your life. I think that's like one of the most critical things because that's just your everyday, I think outside of that, your area agencies on aging are great resources for the person you're taking care of. They have some things for you as a caregiver, but the best way to take care of yourself as a caregiver is to take advantage of all the other things that they just haven't labeled for you.
Yeah.
So if there's that workforce program for training, that's for you. You know, you get the help for the care, and then you do that. But you can't pour from an empty cup.
I'm with it. All right. And with that, as we close out, classic Detroit is different questions for you now.
Okay, let's go.
Very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
Ooh, 97 Chrysler LHS.
Okay.
The big boat, the big body.
Okay.
Bigger than a Marauder. That was my baby. I love that car.
When you get it?
I got it in, must have been 03.
Okay.
Maybe.
So it has some days on it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Gray leather seats with the bench in the back. Like
Oh,
no
man.
separation.
Oh, man.
Could fit a lot in the trunk.
Hey, leather seats are amazing till it's hot as ever. And then you be like, ah. It's like, you'd be like, man, I'm going to have to get the sunglass thing.
No, but I didn't, I was 16. I didn't care.
You didn't get, you was just, I don't care about being burnt.
I don't care. Who else got a leather interior?
I'm with it. Where the first place you went when you got it?
Probably someplace I had no business being.
There
Yeah, I don't know. Me and my whole girl just used to ride around.
Okay.
I'm
a big, I don't know how many people are like this, but I'm a big ride around with nowhere to go guy too.
Yeah.
It is, okay, this is a, what would I say? Kind of like a cheat code. Riding around with nowhere to go, especially through Detroit, if it's warm enough, that is a cheap date. That is cool. If you got good playlists and y'all agree upon music.
And you're a good conversationalist.
Yeah, well, yes, you add both those variables.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Because y'all going to bump into something and it'd be like, hey, go over here. It'd be like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you pick the main 3 thoroughfares. Gratiot, Grand River, or Woodward. You look up and be in Pontiac, like, let's go over here to the ice cream shop.
Yeah, that's nostalgic for sure.
Yeah. All right, so next question. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What you playing?
Oh, that's a terrible question for me because my memory does not work like that. I can't can't pull from catalogs like that in my memory. Like the way I think about stuff, I gotta like see something and then it pulls it out for me. So.
You in mommy mode, so it's gonna be like, the song from Frozen 1.
No. My baby loves Sheefy McFly's vinyl.
For real?
Record. He spins the record.
Shout out Sheefy.
Okay,
I just saw him with he just did something with the Pistons.
Yep. My baby loves that.
Okay.
He's a Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding bedtime song, baby.
Ain't that something? Okay. Otis Redding and Sheefy McFly on the same playlist. That is very interesting. You have a very eclectic little homie.
We're proud. I feel like his taste in music officially makes us cool parents.
I'm with it. So it's like, let's see. Eating sushi, smacking, you can figure out the rest when you Google that. Shout out to Count Mac and Sheefy McFly. And then sitting on the dock of the bay, overspreading. It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like 2 spectrums of a family reunion. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like Sheefy McFly is the cousin over there with the other cousins. What they doing over there by the car?
Also feels very emblematic of my house because we West Side married to an East Sider household.
Oh, man.
So we do all of the things.
All of the things.
Yeah.
All of the things. But it's like, yeah, you park it on the street. We got driveways now. I'm just messing with you. But shout out to City. You know I always joke with you with that.
If they'll let you park in the driveway, Terrence.
Yes. There you go. I'm with it. Love my East Side. Gotta always make a joke about it. All right, last question. You could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
Man, this is I don't know, man. Because if I'm keeping it a buck with you, every time we add them little blue signs with somebody's name on it, I'm like, what are we even like? What is
Why
this?
are we doing this?
Yeah, what is this doing? How does this help?
I think on from this perspective, it helps. Because a lot of these street names in America, many are enslavers, many are colonizers, many.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, if we can redefine like what that is, then it taps in like, who is that person? Like, as rest in peace, my godmother Joanne Watson said, it's like, you need to know who Harold McKinney is. And it's like, yeah, you should know who Harold McKinney is. And Kwame Yatta and like some of these other folks. So I think that like some of it in reality, I mean, your grandmother should have probably like a couple block. And I mean, a petition damn near should be put like that stretch of like that stretch of Myers from 6 Mile to the Northwest Activity Center. So I was like, I mean, like literally, like I know, like last year they had like a lot of the list and names of people that are looking for it, even with my godmother and that. But now after I hear this, like this is, you know what I'm saying? That's a councilwoman member Callaway district. Like it fits actually.
Yeah, I mean, you right. And I guess what I mean is when we don't take down the green ones. We just add the blue ones. You know what I mean? And then and nobody stops calling it.
Yeah. I can say living off one for the longest of time is so interesting because I interchange. So like if I talk about where I'm from, I always say I'm between Rosa Parks and the live service drive. But if I was telling you, I would often say 12th. Yeah. So it's interesting because over here we call it Rosa Parks. Right. Like in the neighborhood. But when I think from outside the neighborhood, I don't know where you're coming from. So I'm like, you may think of this as 12th. Right. Yeah. So
I don't know. Yeah. You know who's been heavy on my spirit lately, especially with all the stuff going down across the country and specifically in Minneapolis. It has been Lucy Blackburn that's been heavy on my spirit. The woman who Lucy and Thornton, I think is her husband's name. Slave catchers came up from Kentucky trying to take them back. Mm-hmm. They were in the sheriff's station and community. They got her husband across the river to Canada. These folks, they went all the way to Amherstburg, did the whole Underground Railroad, did the whole line. Community came, caused like a commotion, maybe actually, threw some things and really got to it. But they snuck her out and got her across the river to safety. Wow. So the Blackburn's been on my spirit heavy lately because at what point are you that serious about it?
That's real. That's
what I mean?
Real.
At what point do you mean it like that where you on the steps?
Yeah.
Of the sheriff's house,
Yeah, I definitely, I did not know that story. I know some of those stories, as there are strong relationships between Detroit and the Underground Railroad, some that you'll even be surprised that, like, connect with. Like, I remember when I had my studio, the 1440 over there off, like, Service Street, like, what's that? That's Gratiot and, I guess, like, the 75 exit, kind of. Near Techno Alley, people may know it as like Lake Culture, and I forget that. It's weird. It's like the conservative, the like almost like socialist communist coffee shop that's down on the corner, across the street from Eastern Market. But when Jimmy Womack was the preacher at the cathedral, like church behind there, and it was very few members that were at that church. It stayed active because at one point in time, people would usually get like two life insurance policies, and one would be deeded to the church and one would, stay with their family. So it just had many of those life insurance policies. But in that church, there are like 7 caskets, in those caskets, they have like a so it's like the top of the casket, and then it's like a drop of the casket.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes, a lot of the pilgrimage sometimes would take place where, in traveling to Canada, probably to Chatham or wherever they end up from there, they would be in caskets under someone that's dead on top of them.
Right.
To finish off the pilgrimage. And like just looking at the caskets, like it's engineering connected to a lot of these things too. So it's interesting because you can bump into stuff like that in Detroit all the time and like have no relationship. Even like the patterns of the street. Jamon Jordan can probably talk endlessly about a lot of this, but you bump into it, it's like, damn, I didn't expect to, bump into that when I was like leaving a session and I just saw Jimmy Womack, rest in peace. But it's a lot of that history here in Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you do get across the bridge through the tunnel, you should head on down to Amherstburg, which is the official last stop. They got a little museum, little house. It's cool. It's just real cool the ability to even, follow the stations like that is a really cool experience.
Yeah, and it also just further uplifts, like, man, Harriet Tubman was, I can't even,
Yeah, you can't even imagine.
Cannot.
You know what I'm saying?
Cannot. Because, as people always say, it's like to have escaped enslavement and then come back and offer others the pilgrimage. That's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be like, imagine like, busting out of Alcatraz and then coming back and, getting other folks. It's like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I also think about the physical labor a lot on your body. You think about the longest walk you've taken recently, right?
Yeah.
You walk the Riverwalk from, the Renton to wherever, right? Yeah. And now we going from, Maryland down all the way, you know what I'm saying? And you got to keep pace. Because the people who after you are on horses and got wheeled vehicles.
And you're going through as I'm definitely embracing more and more that is prevalent. Like when people be like, you wear burgundy a lot. It's like I'm rocking maroon for the Maroons, but a lot of the the paths of the Underground Railroad, you're going through swamp. You're going through even today with your best, I don't know, hiking gear or whatever. Right. I mean, it's gonna kill you.
Right.
Or not kill you. It's gonna it's gonna be a lot on your feet, your back, your neck, and all of that stuff. So like they're more than likely barefoot or
not protected from the elements.
Even if you were one of the best shoemakers, when we think about like those paths and you're going in mud and sometimes in water and sand and you're choosing the path where your tracks will not be seen because you can't just walk along the road because it's like there you go.
Right.
So this is this creates a whole nother layer of resiliency along that path.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Definitely.
So Blackburn Avenue, that's my final answer.
I'm with it. That being said, thank you so much, and also thank you so much for closing with the laugh that I always always.
I have won so many like mock awards for this laugh, but you've never said that to me directly. So now I'm like, dang, the laugh gets them again.
Yeah, it's classic. It's classic. I got a goofy laugh. You got a good laugh.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
You need to be like a front row of like some comedy show, and then it's like it'll pick up.
Gas them up.
Yeah. It's like I'll be goofy. They be like, that's Kari goofy.
But it sounds like you mean it. That's the thing about a goofy laugh.
I know. My sister Dara got it too. It's crazy. With that, peace.